Happy Monday, Pathlings. I'm Spinpixy, your Monday host, and this week we are celebrating the Kitchen Witch. So this morning I thought I would bring you all into my kitchen to show you just some of the things that I do for my daily witchery. Right now you see all the remnants here of, well, the beginnings here really, of my body scrub that I'm going to be making for you right now. In this bowl I've got some harvested aloe vera from my garden, got some brown sugar, some cinnamon and chamomile I'm going to ground up in one of many electric cauldrons. And that's a term coined by Blue Whisper. And I also have right here, which has fallen over, some cinnamon apple oil. And then I have a recycled container that had hand cream in it, so I'm going to put it in there. And this is going to be my body scrub for the next week. And kitchen witchery is like that. Excuse the mess on the counter, I was just cutting up aloe vera. Kitchen witchery is something that is very near and dear to me because it's something that I practice. So let's go ahead and take a look at this scrub, and I'll talk to you a bit about kitchen witchery. So for me, kitchen witchery is such a thing because to me kitchen witchery is one of the greatest forms of magic. If you think back to olden times, and even now, kitchen witchery was the practice of either healing or killing. If you pissed off your wife, then chances are you're gonna find a lot more than hair in your soup. Just saying. And what happened is that as the Catholic Church came in and invaded and made things a patriarchy, the kitchen witch, when women became submissive and subservient, the kitchen witch became relegated to the housewife, the homemaker. And as the patriarchal societies shaped and formulated, women were just made a smaller and smaller role in the household, and were treated as less and less of an individual. Now, you guys have to remember, in the Celtic days, women fought right alongside their men on the battlefield. They did not pull any punches. They were not these fragile, petite things. Women were warriors. Women were soldiers. Women were equal to men before the church came in. Women, they had their own roles to play. They were more than just mommy. They were more than just the wife. They were more than just property, a commodity, to be had. Women were women. They were individuals, just like men were. But when the churches came in, they lost everything. They lost their status. They lost their sovereignty. They lost their ability to vote, even. Because women in those days, they had cattle, they had sovereignty, they had their land, they had their own thing going for them. And to challenge a woman's sovereignty, especially a goddess's sovereignty, would just mess you up. Because they had that. They had their own things. They had their own, and a lot of times it was left to them, but not all times. Women were allowed, and it sucks to say that, but women were allowed to have these things. So once they became simply relegated to the kitchen witch, not only, just to go back to, they were also the healers. They were also the shaman of certain tribes, and once all this happened, once this church-wide sweep happened, women were relegated to the kitchen, relegated to the home, having a child on the hip. And they used to do more than just that. They could, be the mother and the warrior, but then that part was taken away. Any part that gave them power was taken away. So they were relegated to the kitchens, to the home. to preparing that home fire, and they did it with pride. But when you are, a kitchen witch, you are part of that tradition, no matter what your tradition. And to me, being a kitchen witch has the ability to heal, the ability to nourish your family, and you're still the hub of the household, still the one that makes things go round, without the kitchen witch, no one is nourished and prepared for what they must do, no one is healed, no one is connected. So that is why I'm celebrating the kitchen witch. So for my scrub, I have my harvested aloe vera. Let me make sure you guys can see this. I have my harvested aloe vera. I have some brown sugar. I have chamomile, and I have cinnamon. And I have my cinnamon apple oil. And I have my my thingy that I'm going to use. So this is where we are today, where we have all these conveniences. Believe it, believe it. It would have been a lot harder to do what I'm about to do for you in the days of old, because they just didn't have it. They had to ground the cinnamon, ground the chamomile, and I'm going to do that in just a matter of seconds with my modern day conveniences, aka the magic bullet. So I'm going to ground all this stuff and put it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is the smallest measuring cup I had, but this is about a tablespoon and a half of sea salt. I'm going to throw that in there, and then I'm going to throw in a drop or two. I don't use too much essential oil, but I'm going to put in about a drop or two of my cinnamon apple essential oil, and then we'll stir that up. So what I did in this one is that I had a little left over, so I added about, a fourth a cup of coffee ground. I might add like a dash of cocoa, and I'm going to do one for my face as well. So this is part of my kitchen witchery, one of my other cauldrons in my kitchen. This is my second cauldron. This cauldron has been around since I was a child. My mother used it, my grandmother used it, and now I use it. Anything that's ancestral that can go in my, any kind of practice that I'm doing witch-wise is fine by me. So I'm going to go ahead and put this aside, and then, as if I haven't talked about kitchen witchery enough, I'm going to actually sit down and talk to you about kitchen witchery. So as I said, as I was making the recipe, the kitchen witch was a very vital part of the everyday household. And not only were the women expected to take care of the things like the home and the hearth and the healing and all of that, but they were expected to fight on the battlefields. They were expected to be equal in that relationship. And the men would tend the fields and things of that nature. But as women were relegated to these inside the home creatures that were property, the women's roles in what they actually do became negated. They became made smaller, and the power of that was taken away. And the woman was expected to become more feminine, more petite. Well, not even more feminine, because that wasn't even a thing. They would just become expected to become these trophies to look at in the home. And because they did all the home stuff, so it was an easy job, it was a nothing job, it was not even a job, it was just something you did. And I think that somewhere along the line, it became the woman who just, did the backbreaking labor in the home, outside of the home, to this thing where men wanted these tiny petite creatures who were going to be submissive, and they wanted to make women smaller and smaller so they could be more submissive. But the kitchen witch is no small task. they put together the medicines that heal the family. And incidentally, like I said, they can be the healers, they can be the killers. They can be something that would nourish you or something that can destroy you. The kitchen witch is not a laughing job. It's not a laughing type of witchery. There are a lot of wonderful things the kitchen witch can do to celebrate a Sabbath, and they bring honor to the home with the things that the feasts that they prepare. So a lot of people, especially today, don't really look at kitchen witchery as being a big thing. But the truth is that the kitchen witch was the thing. Was that witch, the shaman, and the midwife, and the cook, and all those things, all those types of witchery. That was the kitchen witch, because there are so many skills that a kitchen witch must have. The ability to cook, the ability to prepare, the ability to sew, the ability to build. They must have the knowledge of the herbs, because if you've got a kitchen witch running around with no knowledge, they can easily kill somebody by accident. There was no online sources back then to tell you. Belladonna does not make a good, good dinner spice. So next time you hear somebody try, and I've heard it before, people are like, oh yeah, well some people do kitchen witchery, but that's kind of like palmistry, right? No part of witchery is a small part of witchery, because it all takes a talent, and especially in regards to the kitchen witches. My mother was a kitchen witch. My dad is a kitchen witch. Anyone who can get in that home and take control and run it, like a smooth sailing sea, then that is a kitchen witch. It's not just relegated to a room and a box. The kitchen witch is very multifaceted. So that's pretty much my video this week, and I'll see you guys next week. Many, many blessings, and have a wonderful week. Bye. Okay, so just as a PS, I kind of wanted to show you the scrubs that I made. They've been in the freezer. I usually sit them in the refrigerator, but today I did them in the freezer just to see if I liked it better, to see if it thickens it faster. This is one of them, and this one is going to be a little more liquidy, because this is going to be the one that I just did the sugars in. Let me adjust my camera. Hang on. It's dripping. I have to strain it just a tad, because I had a really, really runny aloe vera, and I don't know why. Probably because it did sit there for a minute. But that's one of them. And then this one is the one that I added coffee to. And they smell amazing. This, by the way, just so you know, this ice cream is amazing. Oh, it helped I showed you. This ice cream is amazing. But, this is a more thicker scrub. This is the one that I added coffee to. Oh, it smells so good. And yeah, this one's more thick than the other one, because this one has the added coffee. But yeah, I had particularly runny aloe vera, but sitting in the freezer is helping them thicken a little faster, and I think I like it better putting them in the freezer. But yeah, I like the texture. It's nice and scrubby, and it's better. I like the homemade sugar scrubs because it's better than like your St. Ives scrub or any other kind of cosmetic scrub you're going to find, because they have these little tiny plastic things that I forgot what the name of them are, but these little tiny plastic granules that are really bad for the environment. They kind of become this glob of waste out in the ocean. So when you use things like sugar or salt or coffee, which dissolve and break down, it's much better for the oceans. So I tend to use homemade sugar scrubs or sea salt scrubs to wash up versus anything else, because it's so good for the environment, great for your skin, and it's part of the kitchen. So I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.